Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here, privileged to be here. Two words you may not hear in my speech are crores and money. You already heard them from me right now. It's not my subject. His subject and he were wedded to each other so integrally, and he spoke so passionately, Mr. Atul Gupta. I must credit you for, credit of course in a double meaning way, for basically getting to the core of the subject in a very quick time, and the passion is absolutely evident. So my topic is about resilience and people and leadership, which is my subject anyway. Good to see Rajan here, a good friend from the services, and Sahil, thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for being here. Very happy that this event is taking place in Panchkula. It's your first. And in the Tri-City, of course, we are a try-hard city, right? We try hard. The Tri-City of Mohali, Chandigarh and Panchkula. Mohali is very close to my heart. Chandigarh is closer, but Panchkula is the closest. It's also my Karam Bhumi and my home. So I must, of course, Chandigarh is also my Karam Bhumi. But here I am talking about leadership and challenges. All of us undergo some challenges. Hello. Any entrepreneur, any human being who has never suffered any problem, any hiccup, any setback, any speed breaker, any outcome which was not favorable. When I talk to the Gen Z, I'm very afraid of asking this question because one of them will raise, sir, I have a very smooth life, never had any problems. But I would come up with two statements. One is that life is unpredictable. And the second is that nobody is perfect. No life is perfect and nothing is predictable. If you could predict 1 year ago that you would be seated here today on this evening, you're probably the best astrologer in the world. You have no idea what you're going to be doing tomorrow evening unless it's a very important, or tomorrow morning unless you have a passport appointment or something like that. Certainty is not a part of life. So when we say navigating challenges in the ecosystem, startup is actually something which is an extension of life itself. Somebody who's got a government job which pays a salary, is not likely to think innovatively, and in fact he might be stifled if he thinks too innovatively, and it's probably important for him or her to be in a smooth cruise kind of mode and do the job that is assigned. But somebody who's thinking of a startup can be compared with the parents of a child. A child is a startup. A child has to be raised. A child has to be nurtured. A child faces challenges, health challenges, setbacks, problems, and a child is also unpredictable. We don't know what kind of personality the child is going to adopt. A startup is something which only the bold and fearless will take up. But then without being bold and fearless, what is life? So let me talk about qualities needed to handle these challenges. Fearlessness is not possible for a human being. In the scriptures, the first quality that is mentioned out of 26 qualities is fearlessness. It's not possible to be fearless, but we can have less fear. When I was in IT, I used to say, paperless possible nahi, to less paper to possible. Abhi less paper to ho gaya. Hardly any paper is supposed to be used. But the point is that fear and worry are debilitating. They are negative influences on our lives. If we are worrying and fearing ourselves, then our performance goes down. You go for an interview which is maybe with an investor. You have a pitch, you have 5 minutes, you are nervous, you are scared, you are fearful, you will not perform as well as if you were cool and calm. So fearlessness or less fearness is something which we probably need to work on. What is the worst that can happen with a startup? You lose money, you lose hope, you lose time, but you don't lose your life. And you don't lose hope, actually. You say that, okay, this is failing, this is not going my way, I hadn't planned it this way, this is not predictable, this was not what I thought. The challenges could be of any nature. They could be government related, they could be natural, they could be disasters like COVID, they could be opportunities like COVID. They could be anything which is not in the frame of our vision. But what can I do if challenges come? I can broaden my shoulders. I can improve my skill sets. I can improve my qualities. Can I influence external factors? To an extent, maybe. Beyond that limit of my purview, can I influence the weather? So my job is to work on the inner battle. The inner battle, which will bring out my best and my worst. The battle of Kurukshetra is being fought in our minds every day. It is being fought in our minds every day. The bad guys and the good guys are fighting it out. And we are the ones who are creating fear for ourselves at times which doesn't exist. 99% of what I fear may not happen. So the first thing to do, my tip, is that please work on your mindset. रोंदू टाइप बनने से बात नहीं बनेगी, दुखी आत्मा बनने से बात नहीं बनेगी, फूल हार्डीनेस भी नहीं चाहिए कि हम हवा में वैसे ही उड़ रहे हैं, वो भी नहीं, धड़ाम से गिरेंगे फिर. लेकिन एटलीस्ट वी कैन वर्क ऑन आवर नेगेटिविटीज एंड टर्न देम इनटू न्यूट्रलिटीज और पॉजिटिविटीज टू एन एक्सटेंट. एक होते हैं सिनिक्स, एक होते हैं ऑप्टिमिस्ट्स और एक होते हैं रियलिस्ट्स. एक होते हैं सिनिकल लोग, एक होते हैं बहुत एक्स्ट्रा ऑप्टिमिस्टिक लोग, एक होते हैं रियलिस्टिक लोग. और रियलिस्टिक टुवर्ड्स ऑप्टिमिस्टिक, जैसे बोलते हैं ना लेफ्ट ऑफ सेंटर, राइट ऑफ सेंटर, ये वो, उसी तरह रियलिस्ट विद अ बिट ऑफ ऑप्टिमिज्म इज प्रॉब्ली द अप्रोच दैट वी शुड अडॉप्ट. व्हाट आर द अदर चैलेंजेस दैट कैन बी फेस्ड बाय अ स्टार्टअप? आई डोंट नीड टू गिव यू एग्जांपल्स. You look at any startup which has succeeded, anything which has succeeded, unicorn बन गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, क्या qualities हैं? What is it? Why is Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, Zepto, whatever it is, why are they delivering at your? By the way, these guys need to be controlled. Sahil, you must have a seminar on accidents which are taking place because of Zomato and all. I mean, these are very dangerous things. वो 9 minutes की जरूरत क्या है? उसको 20 मिनट कर दो, ब्लिंकिट को बोलो. Tell them to do. I mean, हम लोग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में नहीं है अभी. You can't have accidents happening. But coming back to the startup challenges and the people who have succeeded, what are the success factors? X factor is overrated. आजकल X का कुछ भी मतलब हो सकता है. But X factor is overrated. ये जो wow factor है ना, कि वो बंदा यार छा गया, बस पता नहीं कहाँ से वो लाया, वो नहीं होता. There's a saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get. The harder I work, the luckier I get. मेहनती आदमी जीतता है, कभी कभी हार भी जाता है, लेकिन वो X फैक्टर है ना, जो वो बड़ा ज्यादा नहीं चलता वो. That's a balloon that will burst. My solid work will pay dividends. And dividends is again credit जैसा word. It will basically lead to success one day. लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई type of thing. I see friends here, entrepreneurs who have succeeded. I don't want to name anyone because there's so many of them. And people who have suffered challenge. Okay, I'll name Ritu ma'am because she is going to be speaking today. सब लोग इनकी बुक लॉन्च में, कुछ लोग हम में से थे वहाँ पे. जितने चैलेंजेस रितु मैम, रितु सिंगल बैठे हैं, तालियां हो जाए आपके लिए, प्लीज तालियां हो जाए रितु सिंगल. विदाउट नोइंग हु शी इज, मे बी सम ऑफ यू डोंट नो हु शी इज, व्हाट शी इज डन, द काइंड ऑफ चैलेंजेस शी हैज फेस्ड इन लाइफ, आई कैन बेट not more than 1 or 2% of this hall may have faced that many, or 1 or 2% in Panchkula also. लेकिन resilience. What is resilience, by the way? What is resilient leadership? I like the word. एक perception management बड़ा अच्छा term आपने use किया. Resilient leadership and perception management are totally divorced from each other. There's nothing apparently in common. मेरी जो qualities हैं और मेरी जो perception है, वो वक्री भी हो सकती है, different भी हो सकती है, distinct हो सकती है. लेकिन मेरा जो रिजिलियंट लीडरशिप की क्वालिटी है वो अल्टीमेटली मेरी परसेप्शन को भी हेल्प करेगी. कैन आई प्रमोट समथिंग विच इज खोखला अनएंडिंगली, समथिंग विच इज हॉलो? द परसेप्शन विल ऑलवेज फॉलो. Quality matters. So my resilience in leadership means, I was mentoring a startup CEO. Startup he is doing well actually, he was a big company now. So I do some leadership mentorship. So he was saying, sir, मैं ना नाराज बहुत होता हूँ और मैं गुस्सा करके लोगों को हटा देता हूँ. Obviously they're going to be bad mouthing you in the industry. 30 people who you have thrown out of your company in a tri-city like Chandigarh, Mohali, will they be your ambassadors of goodwill? They will be bad-mouthing you. So my people skills and my leadership is that if I have to let somebody go, I let him go honorably. We agree to disagree. I don't lose my cool beyond that point. So I worked with him quite a bit and he improved hopefully. But nobody can be perfect, as I said. So we work on our inner battles. Resilience is about working on your inner self. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is another day. The challenge of today. I know Dr. Khosla was the Chancellor of Shulini University. So I'm an advisor at Shulini University in Solon. And Dr. Khosla and Mrs. Khosla were interviewed by me on my show. So I said, कभी-कभी झगड़ा होता होगा. They are now 83 and 81 or something like that. झगड़ा तो होता है विवेक, लेकिन रात को हम सुलह करके सोते हैं, सुबह तक नहीं उसको ले जाते. I see a couple over there. Nice to see you. I like it. Very good. A round of applause for the couple over there. Please, round of applause. Wonderful, wonderful. You are a couple, right? मैं कुछ गलती तो नहीं कर रहा है, वो बड़ा मुश्किल काम हो जाता नहीं तो. मैं आपको एम्बैरेस नहीं करना चाह रहा, पर जैसे मैंने ये बात कही तो मैम ने सर को ऐसे ऐसे किया, शोल्डर पे थोड़ा ऐसे ऐसे किया, तो अच्छी बात है. हाँ आपकी बात. तो पॉइंट ये है कि सुबह तक कल की प्रॉब्लम्स को लेके क्यों जाना है. इट्स अ वेरी रेयर क्वालिटी टू वेक अप विथ होप, वेक अप विथ जोश, एंड रात गई बात गई वाली बात. Let me talk a couple of practical things. I think we're on 12 minutes or something already. Ma'am is not keen to end my speech, but thank you for that. 3 more minutes to go. Point क्या है कि practical aspect ये है कि I need to be alert and aware of how to handle people in the era of AI. I have a TEDx talk on AI versus HR, human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. Versus नहीं है, वो actually collaboration है. In the era of AI, the person who will succeed is the person who has people skills. In the era of AI, the person who will succeed is the person who has people skills. AI is a given fact. Technology is not a limitation. I've been director of technology. Technology is not going to limit you anywhere. Oppenheimer को जहाँ पे Oppenheimer ने atomic bomb बनाना था, उसको कोई रोक नहीं पाया, वो ले गया वहाँ तक अपने साइंस को. President Truman used that atomic bomb. Oppenheimer didn't use it. Science will not be stopped. But your sensibilities, that leadership has to then utilize technology in the right manner. अगर आपने ओपनहाइमर और सैम बहादुर नहीं देखी हैं, 2 पिक्चरें, तो काइंडली मेरे कहने से देख लीजिए. एनिमल तो सबने देखी होगी पिछले साल. ओपनहाइमर और सैम बहादुर देख लीजिए प्लीज. लीडरशिप पता चल जाएगी, रिजिलियंट लीडरशिप क्या होती है. I'll end with Sam Bahadur ki story because inspiration is part of my role these days. I must talk about Sam Bahadur. So, one of the stories that is not known and not part of the film, there was a Major Mehndi Ratta who later became Colonel Mehndi Ratta, and he was living in Chandigarh and he passed away unfortunately. He told me this story many years before Sam Bahadur movie came. He says, I was a major in the headquarters working with the chief, and Sam Manekshaw was the chief, army chief. He says a lady came who had lost her husband And when she came, then her papers were not complete or something, and she hadn't got her pension. I don't like to use the W word. She had lost her husband and she was to get pension. And the army was taking time. So the general, that time general, before he became field marshal, General Manekshaw calls Major Mandirata. He says, "Sweetie," sweetie bolte the wo sabhi ko, ya darling, "Sweetie, I want you to go to Meerut. By 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, I want her papers complete in my office in Delhi." अब मेजर मेहंदीरता साहब शाम को 6 बजे चले बाइक पे दिल्ली से मेरठ, वहाँ फ़ोन वोन किया होगा, लैंडलाइन जो भी मिला उस टाइम, and he sat till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in that office of Meerut. He got the papers completed, and by 8:15, luckily for him, he was back to Manekshaw's office. Manekshaw comes at 8:30 bell. "Where are those papers, sir?" He looks at them, calls the lady, had come again. Lady को भेज देते हैं, पेपर हो गया उनका काम. बोलते, "Sweetie, well done, well done." Now this kind of leadership is what we need all across corporate India, academic India, government, bureaucracy, politicians. Everybody needs to have some spark of leadership there. So challenges will come and go. Just pray that your shoulders are broad, your resilience is high, your leadership qualities keep improving, your people skills are good, and the rest can go for a toss. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, and thank you for inviting me.